Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ox and the Rat. I'm your host, the Ox.
And I'm the rat.
All right. Well, it's spring, isn't it? Or summer?
Officially.
Is it? Oh yeah, the equinox. Is that how it works? I've never understood the equinox. I think it's just a nice word to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is
Just
the
when it gets
equinox?
warm.
You know?
Equinox. No. I don't know.
Huh. Feels like something we probably should know. Hmm.
Maybe.
Well,
That's what computers are for.
Yeah, that's right. What Google's for. I'll tell you a few things I know for sure. The sun is coming out, thank God. And according to my D-Minder app, you can get vitamin D. Well, you have been able to get vitamin D from the sun in this part of the world for about a month. So I'm off to a really good start. I pretty much got a tan and almost burned myself a few times. So not bad for early April, I'd say.
Good base tan.
Yeah. The irony, though, right, is that the more tan you get, the less vitamin D you get. It's this weird equilibrium. But thank God I'm outside getting it. I love this app. I think I've talked about it before. I just it knows roughly my skin pigment and the time of day where I go out and how much I'm wearing, what's my coverage, what's the UV. You can use the light sensor on it. So I'll walk out if I'm out for an hour or 30 minutes with my dog. I know how much vitamin D I got from that roughly. And man, yeah, I think that's super. I know that's super important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you mind just bringing your mic a little bit closer? I think I got a bit of an echo here. We're trying to get rid of whatever echo sound. Playing around with settings,
Mm-hmm. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I still don't really know how to use this Yeti thing. Beautiful mic. Got it on this big boom here, and it's got all the settings on the back.
Here, the thing with the Yeti ones are, you see how close mine is. It's not the traditional mic where you speak on the top of it, but you speak in front.
Yeah, I'm not talking in front of it. I'm keeping it to the side and everything. Here, let's see this. Do you notice a difference when I talk like this?
Yeah, talk again.
Hello?
Yep, say something more.
or like this? Is this worse or better?
That's more echoey.
Ah, right, it's distance. Okay, there we go. This robot arm. There we go. Is that better?
How much it articulates.
Better now?
Yeah.
Better now. All right, there we go.
I think the closer, the better, but then you just have to be wary of being too loud. But yeah, mine's about a few inches from my face.
Huh. All right. Yeah, I'll have to consider that. I changed it to the full circle thing on the back, so I don't know if that. I have no idea what these settings do. But
I think the full circle is all the way around. The indented one is at the front, like mine.
Maybe that's why. And then you've got different overlaps and stuff. Okay, well, whatever. We're here, and it's summery, and I'm loving it. What's it like over there?
It's not bad.
Outside a lot?
I was planning to go today, but then it was kind of just gray, so I was like, we'll see if it's sunny tomorrow. I was looking at some cameras.
Oh.
Just for the hell of it, because I saw it just pop up on YouTube. But the Fuji 100 XV or something like that. Looks like a kind of a cool camera. About $1,800.
Is it mirrorless?
Yeah.
Compact, full frame, or ASPC?
It's not a full frame. It's like a half. I don't know.
Yeah,
what it is.
3/4, usually ASPC or whatever. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've been in photography. I'm just so busy with work. But yeah, I mean, depends on what you want to do. If you're not doing low light photography, then a full frame. You don't need a full frame lens for a lot of things. Get some amazing quality from compacts and all in ones even.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller than my current one, and probably like $4,000 cheaper than the Leica that they're comparing it to.
Yeah, those Leicas, man. Jesus Christ. You gotta wonder, like, is this actually 2,000 or more dollars better than something else? Makes you
That's pretty
wonder.
much what the guy said. He's like, it's not, but it's good. So his whole thing was like, I have big hands and this fits in my hands well, and it's fun to use. I'm like, this is not a very in-depth review here.
But that's probably good enough for some people, right? Yeah, I mean, it's for some people, fun is what they're looking for. Just easy, simple, and solid. I think that's pretty good.
Then he went to the other one. He said it's also fun. So he kept using the word fun a lot.
Less useful. All right. Well, let's get on with our fable for the day. This one is called The Crow and the Pitcher. In a spell of dry weather, when the birds could find very little to drink, a thirsty crow found a pitcher with a little water in it. But the pitcher was high and had a narrow neck, and no matter how he tried, the crow could not reach the water. The poor thing felt as if he must die of thirst. Then an idea came to him. Picking up some small pebbles, he dropped them into the pitcher, one by one. With each pebble, the water rose a little higher until at last it was near enough so he could drink. That's it. That's a nice short one.
Yes. Never give up. That's the moral.
Never give up.
Ingenuity, is that a word? Ingenuity is key.
You're on the right track.
Ingenuity can solve all problems we meet, or many problems.
Yeah, the moral is actually, in a pinch, a good use of our wits may help us out. So I'd say you got it. Yeah. So the crow has a problem, right? And like all crows do, and you've seen some of that stuff about crows. They're crazy smart. It used a tool to get what it wanted. So definitely something I'm sure we can all aspire to, and sounds right to me right off the bat. I'm trying to think of like challenges or difficulties I've been in, like life-threatening ones or something. That's probably, I don't have too many of those. But I don't know if you have anything to get started with.
No. Well, maybe. I was just thinking of something my dad always used to say for some reason. Extend your reach. Which, like, I don't know, if you're trying to like get at something, or it's basically like the crow essentially, but like, I remember one time when I was reaching for something underneath my sister's bed and I was trying to grab it, and it was like, very far away. And I think, you ever have that where you like try to reach so far that you like kind of hurt something in your armpit?
Yeah.
Like you just like, you like tear.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was one thing, but I don't know why that was a saying, extend your reach. Anyways, basically you could use it for basically as a fable. Just find some way to solve the problem. You could get a stick, or in a real life situation, you could have something else help you. What was your initial question? Did I have a...
how does that, just anything, and you kind of answered it, right? To get the ball rolling on this.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common motto, actually. I remember my dad would always say "Semper Fi" or whatever. The Marine, all those Marine, U.S. Marine things, like adapt, improvise, and overcome kind of stuff. That's, in a way, that's kind of the story of humanity, I guess. We're overcoming stuff, all right. but we're also creating new problems along the road. I mean, I guess the crow, nothing happened from the crow doing that. That was just a survival thing. I think you could take this a little bit too far, right? Everything needs a technological solution. Or maybe that's the last thing it needs. The crow needed, I don't know if that's technology, it's not technology, but the crow did something to get him what he wanted, or what he needed. And there's that, want and need,
And that was the smarter way as well. He could have just knocked the pitcher over.
Yeah, that's right.
And had a little sip. But this way he gets to have more, like, basically can finish the whole pitcher.
Yeah, that's a good point, eh? I mean, so there are different ways to get the same thing. Some of them are destructive and some of them aren't. Always been a huge fan of regenerative agriculture. I mean, like, what we do now is just absolutely unsustainable, right? You're destroying the environment just to create food, but you have to use food to create food. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a better way, and there are better ways, but you've got to sell that in this economy.
I saw some of the things on the table for, I don't know, some liberal convention or something like that in Canada, and some of them were pretty good. I was like, okay, finally. But some talks about high-speed rail network in Canada. And things like that. So I'm like, can you actually do these things?
Stop talking about it.
And not take till like 2050 to get them done?
The answer is no.
Like, how hard would it be to, I mean, it's going to cost money, but, especially on those flat provinces, at least get that part done, like, quickly.
Yeah, and also, like, and also just while we're on this whole, I think it's a bullshit argument. Like the reset economy, right? We have this chance to redo. We could make it better. We could, but we're not going to. And the argument is so weird. Like we needed to wait for a catastrophe to do this. So here's another opportunity. And they're not going to do it. There's no question. And the reasons aren't because it's difficult, like you say. It's all the red tape. It's all the bureaucracy. That's something that Bill Maher rails against. I love how why people leave California, right? Like these liberals have left California for Texas, of all places, which is great because it's changing the voting, the constitution of the vote count, or of the Republican Democrat divide there. But like they're leaving not because they don't like living in California or what California is. They hate all of nothing ever gets done. There's taxes on everything. Like, it's just a nightmare. And you go to Texas and it's like a little bit more libertarian or whatever. And things or at least people, you're allowed to do things that obvious that you should be able to do, right? Without worrying about like stepping on anyone's toes or whatever, who you offend. Yeah.
If you have a high-speed railway network, do you think conservatives would oppose it?
I think they would if a liberal government presented it. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's the funny thing because it's going to create jobs. Mm-hmm. It's going to be better for the country. They're like most of these things take. I just saw a U.S. planned one too, and it was going to be by 2030. So, and that's like upgrades and stuff, and some probably I guess high speed rail. But that's a good 9 years. So if you are spending 9 years creating jobs, you think that would be a good thing. And you could just, print money as like needed currently. Yeah. So why not just print it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, we print it for almost everything else. Why can't we print it? We print it to bail things out. Why can't we print it to make things? Right? That's just ridiculous.
Which you would get a return on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a weird one, right? Infrastructure isn't supposed to be an easy sell. But if you've ever lived in a country with good infrastructure, like, you totally get it, right? I mean, I have. It's like, so I just go here and it takes me where I want to be. like, that's amazing. Or you wake up, walk down the street into a subway, and emerge later, like, unfazed, not stressed out. Like, it's amazing. In countries like Japan and China, they have these things, and they work so freaking well. And you come back and you're like, so I'm going to need to have a car. I'm going to have to spend shit tons of gas on it. I'm polluting. I'm wasting space with the space that my car takes up. Like, it's just a crazy amount of waste that we built this economy around. And I miss that so much. And unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. I don't think. Now, here's another thing for those of you who aren't aware: Canada as a political system. Canada's political system is. I'm going to screw this up. It's a federal. Crap. Well, it's a federal heavy government. I can't remember. I used to teach politics. Go easy on me. But transportation, I believe, is a shared responsibility between provinces and the federal government. So not only do you have to, is this like one thing where, you elect a federal government that wants to do this, they have to then negotiate with the provinces. This is part of the problem with democracy today, because everybody's in a party. So, if Manitoba's in a conservative government, there's going to be a challenge about it, right? There's going to be all this, back and forth about, we want this, for our constituents, we want, and at the end of the day, nothing will get done because nobody can agree on the one right thing to do. And even if it does get done, it'll be a patchwork. That's the best case scenario, which is shit. Just, in those city buildings, you ever play SimCity?
Back in the day, yep.
Yeah, I mean, you said, I want to make a road from here to here. And you made that road. I played City Skylines, which is awesome. You do the same thing. You didn't like every time you clicked on something, it wasn't like, we need an environmental analysis.
10 years.
Yeah, you can build this in 10 years. And then it's like, well, if I was a government, I wouldn't even be here anymore. It's stupid.
And the cost ballooned.
Ballooned out of control with inflation by the time it's over, needs assessments, blah, blah. Just get it the fuck done. And that's the part we've talked about so many times. Like, nobody gives a fuck about the needs assessment at the end of the day. Really don't. Special interest groups do. I get that. Like, sometimes there's awful things that could happen when people make poor decisions, but you can't just argue about everything. What people want is things to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back to our crow here, I don't know. That wasn't too much of an aside, but like,
I think it fits because that is a problem, and a bit of ingenuity, a bit of thinking could solve that problem.
Yeah,
it's just nobody does it.
I wonder but I guess that's the point we're making. Is there even a possibility for ingenuity in a system like we have now?
Well, you got to go as the crow flies. And you just draw some lines, and then when it doesn't work and you meet the 1,000 lakes in Manitoba, you got to zigzag that line a bit. Or do you build bridges across it? You just figure something out. Is it going to have environmental impact? People just think logically, like, just go through the steps, and does this work or not? Like, just come up with some ideas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
so ingenuity, is it possible in the system?
I don't think it is. I think that's really depressing, but I really don't think that it is. I think that what's happened is we just basically we avoid challenge. That's what's happened. Take the COVID response, for example. People think it's it's courageous to tell people to stay at home. That's not courage. Like, what our response to this has largely been shelter in place until like somebody else develops a vaccine. That is the substance of the response. The government has then, for business relief, eventually, even though they've clearly favored big box business, they have responded by printing money and going more in debt. So again, that's not really doing anything. It's just kicking the can down the road and saying, oh, that debt problem we were talking about before, now it doesn't matter. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, what passes for courage in popular culture now is complaining, right? You're, virtue signaling how fantastic you are, how many causes you believe in, how terrible it is that people want to go to the gym or go for a run without their stupid mask on. Like, it's an unquestioning, unflinching belief that, complaining is correct. Action is not necessary. I really do believe that. I think, and most of the people who are like putting slogans and things out in the world about like, all of these causes they believe in, they're just words. A lot of people don't do anything. We just say stuff, kick it down the road. That's it. I don't think ingenuity is on most people's vocabulary anymore.
How close was Canada to getting a vaccine? Were they at all?
What do you mean, for us independently?
Like creating their own?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I doubt that was ever a thing. I meant when I meant others. When I said others, I meant companies.
Yeah, but I'm just, that should be something we should have. Look, if we had our own, we wouldn't have, obviously it takes some time to develop or whatever, but we wouldn't have that, potentially that issue with, Europe, whatever companies that were like, all right, hold on, we got to upgrade our facilities here. We're going to delay all vaccines. That wouldn't have happened. I think, wasn't Canada the country that came up with the Ebola vaccine?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I'm like, we have a pretty good biotech industry. Why can't we make our own?
I don't know. It's a good question, I suppose. You'd think that if the government had invested in that would be another opportunity. Like it's a crisis until you know what to do with the information, and we never passed that point. We've never passed it. We've never gone back and said, like, oh, this is related to obesity. Maybe we should address obesity. It's like, no. Just McDonald's stays open, gyms stay closed. Like, oh, well, there's no evidence supporting the idea that gyms are major vectors of transfer. I was like, no, it's too much of a danger. Like, but have you been to Costco? Like, holy shit, there are like thousands of people crammed in there, and not the healthiest of individuals cramming themselves full of Cheetos and crackers. It's crazy. It doesn't pass the sniff test, right? It's just on the surface you think gym equals sweaty, so that is a vector. No evidence to support it, but we're not working with evidence. And how can you be ingenious if you're not able to use logic or listen to counterfactuals? Anyway.
Well, you have the Vancouver Canucks. They got destroyed by COVID.
Yeah, they did. And I wonder how many of them are really sick, for example, or if it's just you have antibodies. And moreover, if those people are getting really sick, I wonder how healthy they actually are. Just because you play a professional sport, have a six-pack, doesn't mean that you're healthy. It really doesn't. That's been proven time and again. You can overtrain, right? I used to do that. Destroys you.
Condensed schedule this year as well. Overworked. But they were a week off. So you imagine they're just kind of, walking around. They got it that way.
Could be.
I looked up the Ebola vaccine. It was from Canada. Developed by the Public Health Agency of Canada, with development subsequently taken over by Merck Inc.
A German company, I think. What was it?
UK, maybe? Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah, so we can do things, but whatever, man. I like if we put that whole situation in the context of this fable, like in a pinch, a good use of our wits may help us out. Okay, so what was the pinch? The pinch is, for example, we have there's a novel coronavirus, right? Did we use our wits? Well, what was logical when we realized there was a problem would have been, the lockdown, right? That made sense until you figured out what to do with it. It's now a year and a half, and we're in the exact same. We're going to shut down again, right?
Also, those wits were not used right away. For whatever reason, everybody's like, "Oh, a virus. Oh, now it's in Europe. Oh, I wonder if it. Oh, now it's in Washington." It wasn't like, okay, this is coming. This is imminent. Seems to be spreading quickly. Yeah, lockdown, stop flights. If that whole procedure was put in place, like you said, early on and quickly, it seemed like people were just kind of, dicking around, and no masks for hospitals. Like somehow we had nothing, or like the stuff we had was already expired.
Well, I agree in part. I would just say that two things: that there's a point at which we can understand a little bit of boy who cried wolf stuff going on. You remember how the H1N1 was going to destroy everybody. This other virus. I think there's a point at which we can understand the delay in action. I think that at any point making that initial decision to lock down makes sense. But then it turns out that there's a lot of asymptomatic transfer that we know, for example, we talked about last time, 80% of people have comorbidities who get serious issues from this. So why are we not talking about that? That's not using our wits. We're just getting sicker.
And also the thing, if you leave it, though, that's not talked about or wasn't talked, well, it was a bit, is the potential for it to mutate, and then, you don't know what could happen with a mutation, right? It could get deadlier, or as it's happened, it can be more transmissible from people to people. So if it happened to get deadlier and also that, or you never know, what if the next one does, get worse or whatever. So although it may not be that serious for most people, having it stick around to allow it to kind of mutate, and that's also an issue.
Well, it's always going to mutate. That's the issue. I think that we're obsessed with this zero risk idea that doesn't exist anywhere. What are we going to do? We're going to keep going in lockdown. We're going to keep doing this, right? That's not using our wits. Why aren't we addressing the root causes, right? At the same time, why aren't we investing in our biotech sector, for example? Why aren't we looking at projects that could get us out of this more logically as we emerge from it? At this point, and I was saying, it makes sense to do the lockdown immediately, but then we knew what was up with it. We knew how it was transmitted. We knew who it was affecting. Here's a smart take: do not shut down parks. What a stupid idea! People need to get outside. It's not transmitting outside, not to any significant rate. Something that we learned, something we forgot to apply, right? There's no evidence that it transfers in gyms, and gyms are where people go to get their same minutes of their regular workouts. Not everybody can build a home gym. So why is that a focus? Why is McDonald's still open if other stores are closed? Why are there these things? And now we're like, oh, well, we've lost all these small businesses. That's surprising. No, it's not. Why? And still to this day, nobody is talking about the real significant health issues that are the root cause of this, right? Why don't we talk about health? Why have the nutritional guidelines not been changed to adapt? Why are we still rehearsing the same problems over and over and over and over again? That's not using our wits. It's just knee-jerk reactions. And it's taking the easy way out, as far as I'm concerned. Courage is doing something that's challenging. We haven't done that. We haven't had tough conversations with ourselves or others. That's not using our wits. It's just saying, I'm afraid, and I will not use my wit. I'll use my reptile brain and go fight or flight. I'm going to run away with my tail between my legs. Fear, 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 with all the unintended consequences that come from that. People are sick. They're sicker than they were before this started. And nobody's talking about it. And they should be. That's not using our wits. The pinch was the virus. The rocks were the things we could have added to fix things. We had an opportunity. And we've just smashed the jug on the ground, as far as I'm concerned. So we're not crows.
Yeah. I think there will be some change, hopefully, just regarding the old folks' homes, possibly the workers there, how they have to like work between 3 or 4 homes because nobody wants to pay them a full-time wage.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So they have to go. Then they're just spreading disease from place to place. So hopefully that gets fixed where it's like, you have your set workers, pay them a decent wage.
Agreed. I agree. And the other point of that too, I forgot to make was a smart response would have been, we're not locking down everything after we understood how it was transmitted, who was affected. We're going to talk, first of all, we're going to talk health. That would have been a big one. And we're not going to restrict your access to things that provide healthy experiences for individuals. The next thing would have been, let's lock down the most vulnerable individuals. Let's do that. That's what some states did. That's what some countries did, right? And then let's do social distancing to an extent. That would have covered everything, and we didn't need to be in this quagmire. Like, another thing that needs to be appreciated is from a zero risk mentality. Anytime that we go back out, the same thing is going to happen because we are not allowing nature to take its course. So every time there's going to be, oh my God, run back inside. Like, we're totally anesthetized to the idea that there is a risk involved in everyday life. There is. This is new, yes, but be a healthy human. You'll be fine for the most part. Protect our most vulnerable, and let's start talking about what it means to be really healthy. That's smart. What we're doing is not.
Yeah. There's other things lurking out there too, like MRSA in hospitals, like the fact that most doctors and nurses have it, but they don't test to see if they do because everybody would be fired.
Yeah. Everybody, we should all go and stay indoors and eat our Beyond Meat burgers and bow to the gods of soy. Everything will be fine. Thank you, Bill Gates. Thank you, James Cameron. Anyways,
I guess as a society in general, our ingenuity was to come up with a vaccine in somewhat record. I guess it was record pace. So one positive. Yeah. Let's end on a positive note, shall we?
You shall. Yeah. So looking at this, in a pinch, a good use of our wits may help us out. Definitely. It can do, and it does, but I don't think that we have done in this particular example we've expounded upon. So thumbs up, however, to humanity, a big thumbs down.
Or a big thumbs up for a vaccine.
Yeah, I agree. I think the vaccine, it's a really positive story, but it's putting off.
Also, they seem to be poo-pooing the idea of a vaccine passport, so that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, that would be wild, man. You'd have some armed revolts from libertarians about that. I can't say I totally disagree with them. I don't know how I feel about that.
We had little vaccine. I still have it. My mom has it at her house. We had vaccine little, like, you write it down on a piece of paper. That's all you need. It doesn't need to be, put into data centers everywhere with our biometrics. That just seems like trouble.
Yeah. Well, that's been an engaging one for sure. I've unfortunately, well, you get to sleep on it. I gotta get to work. So, what do you say we wrap this up?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you have out there, leave us a like or a dislike. Either's fine. Don't really care. Just want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, spread the word if you do like it. Let's get more than 1 or 2 people listening, shall we?
And to those 1 or 2 people, thanks for staying with us.
Yeah, we're getting close to a year almost. I looked at the first date. It was a few months away, but July 27th or something.
Wow. Anyways, what an odyssey. Thanks for being with us on the journey, those of you who have, and talk to you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.